we will start again with the treatment of poisoning. So let's start with the poisoning of lead. So lead poison, source of lead can be anywhere between occupation, during the occupation, that is house renovation, paint, etc., have lead in them, and also environment all have has some amount of lead, that is in the petrol we have lead, so it can, because of the automobile uses, lead can go in the air and cause pollution. The amount of lead in the air can increase. So what is the problem in lead? Because what happens in body, when lead comes in the body, it exchanges with the calcium in the body, and it comes and sits in the body for a long time. That is, its T half is 35 days in the blood, and if it goes and sits in the skeleton or the teeth, it goes around 95% of absorbed lead can go and sit in the skeleton or the teeth, and it stays there for around 25, the T half is 25 years, so it can be staying there for even longer period than that. In the blood, when lead is there in the free form, when it is not anywhere when it is not in the skeleton or the dentine, that is in the teeth, it binds to the sulfhydryl group. So anywhere there is sulfhydryl group, there is problem, it will come and bind to that particular group, called causing in the, especially in the proteins which are involved in cellular oxidation, etc. Oh, so that is a problem. It interferes with the cellular metabolism. What are the symptoms? If the poisoning is mild, then the problems can be lethargy, abdominal discomfort. Mild as in, it has not, the amount of lead ingested was not too much, but when the concentration increases, that it goes above certain range, then it can give you problems such as CNS disturbances, perinephral neuropathy, etc. What is the amount that harmful in the body? In serum, 450, it's around 100 micrograms per ml. It can cause impaired cognitive development in the children, and if it is above 1000 microgram per level, it can cause fatal reactions. And the mild condition mild poisoning is when the amount is less than 450 micrograms per ml, and it can be still removed from the body with the help of this particular antidote, that is the penicillamine, d-penicillamine. DMSA is short formed for 2,3-dimercaptosuccinic acid, which is a water soluble analog of dimercaprol and also has a high affinity to the lead, hence preferred. And the severe lead poisoning should be treated with parenteral therapy, or and in giving, it is it is bed it is preferred that it should be excreted quickly from the body, and for apart from that, we have to chelate it so that it cannot go and bind to the other important enzymes of the body, that is using of chelating agent. So the very famous chelating agent is the sodium potassium, sorry, it's the sodium calcium EDTA. So it helps in removal of the lead from the bone and the extracellular spaces. It uh, it eliminates lead from body with via the urine, that is the urine from the kidney. So around it takes 5 days to remove it. Then dimercaprol can also be effective in case of lead poisoning. Then the next poison is methanol. Methanol is a very good solvent, so it is there in industrial chemical industries, and also it is there in paints, antifreezes, etc., which are used generally by the general people, and it is a cheap substitute for ethanol, hence it is preferred over ethanol. It has low toxicity. Actually, it has low toxicity. Methanol itself has a low toxicity, but its metabolite, that is the formaldehyde, is highly toxic in the body, as I have mentioned previously also. Even 10 ml of the methanol can cause blindness to the person, and 30 ml can kill the person. So methanol is a methanol conversion from methanol to methanol, that is formaldehyde, is a zero order process involving the enzymes in the liver, which are alcohol and aldehyde dehydrogenases. But ethanol, that is conversion of ethanol to ethanoic acetaldehyde or acetic acid, it is less preferred reaction for the alcohol and aldehyde dehydrogenases. So what happens is blindness occurs because of the uh, methanol, that is formaldehyde formation. Formaldehyde goes and converts retinol from the in the eyes to retinine, which formaldehyde is going to convert um, this particular compound retinol to retinine, and causing impairment of vision, that is blindness. If you don't have retinol in the eye, how come it will uh, help you to visualize, right? So it causes blindness. So that is why ethanol is given. So let us see how treatment of methanol will be done. So firstly, what are the features, what are the symptoms? Malaise, that is uncomfort, vomiting, abdominal pain, tachypnea, that is breathing pattern is not normal, it is very fast. Then pupils are dilated, coma can occur, circulatory collapse, that is all your circulatory system is going to, all the patient's circulatory system is going to fail. So blood methanol levels can be measured, but we cannot say how much ml of actual methanol is gone into the person's body. So let us see how is it treated. Firstly, metabolic acidosis treatment, that is there is decrease in the pH, that is acidity of the overall body increases. So we have to correct it first. It is done by giving a standard treatment of sodium bicarbonate. Acidosis will be preferred treating with the help of sodium bicarbonate IV intravenously. Then inhibiting the metabolism of methanol, that is inhibiting the formation of methanol to methanal. So that is why ethanol is given. So ethanol will compete with methanol for the enzymes alcohol and aldehyde dehydrogenase, and hence a less toxic product will be formed, which I have already explained you in the previous lectures. Then eliminating methanol and its metabolites with the help of hemodialysis. So this can be done 2 or 3 times, which can remove out methanol. Then the patient is also given folinic acid to repair the retinal damage which must have happened. Next we come to the another uh, carbon solvent type of molecule, that is substance, that is ethylene glycol. It is there in antifreezes for car radiators, etc. And previously it was used in wines, etc., but now it is banned from using it in for the wines. So metabolism of glycolate gives acidosis and renal damage, and it can be lethal if around 100 ml of ethylene glycol is ingested by any person, adult person. After first 12 hours of the ingestion, the patient seems to be intoxicated with alcohol. It doesn't have any specific odor, etc., and the symptoms look like the person is intoxicated with alcohol, but as the time increases, it goes so it causes acidosis, cardiac failure, pulmonary edema, that is fluid accumulation in the lungs, alveolar areas. After that, after 2 to 3 days, there's renal pain, tubular necrosis, means or your renal tubule is getting failing to work. Then because there is calcium oxalate crystal formed in the urine, so that is the problem, that is why it is giving such problems. So firstly, to treat acidosis, we will give intravenous sodium bicarbonate. Then calcium gluconate would be given, and the similar way to treat the same way methanol poisoning is treated, ethanol and fomepizole are given, which are competitive inhibitors to the aldehyde dehydrogenase and alcohol dehydrogenase, which will try to metabolize ethylene glycol actually. So it is inhibited to metabolize it to harmful products, and hemodialysis is given, so the poison, that is the ethylene glycol, is removed out of the patient's body. Then we come to hydrocarbons, that is a lot of hydrocarbons, oil, paraffin oil, that is the kerosene, it is readily available to us. Petrol is also readily available, and benzene, as everybody knows by now that benzene is a carcinogen, already a carcinogenic agent. It is now banned for all the chemical in all the labs, all the academic research labs, etc. We don't use benzene at all, because it is, even though it being a very excellent solvent for chemical reactions, but it has carcinogenic effects. So they give CNS depression. All these compounds are giving us CNS depression, pulmonary damage because of the inhalation, and to also gives vomiting, etc. Then the next is volatile solvent abuse, that also occurs. These are also hydrocarbon in nature. So the fevicol and glue have a specific smell which we like to sniff, but that is actually harmful for us. Let us see how it is. It is also there in the adhesives, dry cleaning compound, chemicals, air fresheners, deodorants, aerosols, and other products. So what happens after taking these hydrocarbons or volatile solvents? That is euphoria, excessive feeling, excessively pleasant feeling, excitatory effects occur. After that, it leads to confusion, hallucination, delusion. Then if the person is continuously using it, such like it is, the person is continuously sniffing it, etc., such as compounds such as toluene, they develop peripheral neuropathy, the cerebral disease, that is the kidney and brains are getting damaged, and they also can get dementia, that is loss of memory. Kidney damage occurs, liver, heart, lung damage can also occur because of this. So let us see ahead how it will be treated. So it will be treated with the help of N-acetylcysteine, that is an antioxidant in the of your body. So treatment of N-acetylcysteine is preferred for the poisoning of hydrocarbons and volatile solvents. So we will study about treatment of pesticide poisoning, etc. in the coming lectures.